PK, it is such a nice thing to to have and to interview you. Did you from the beginning have a dream that I'll become an ad filmmaker or something?
No, yeah. I wanted to be a horse breeder or a tea garden manager or something definitely outdoors. बाहर घूमते फिरते. So I managed to get a final interview in an international bank, and everybody in my family turned around and said, "Ore, Pappu pass ho gaya." So they were all celebrating. Laddu vaddu bant rahe the,
Okay.
because I was considered a duffer in the family because I was dyslexic. और किसी को मालूम नहीं था dyslexic. So I mean, regardless of what I did, I always managed to just scrape through my exam. और एक दफे fail भी हो गया मैं. So failing was a very important part of my journey because it taught me how to deal with failure. Because it was I mean, हमारे देश में तो कलंक है ना, अगर तो आप फेल हो गए किसी चीज में तो you not only let yourself.
Exactly, but that was a time when dyslexia was not known.
No.
Okay. But when did you find out that you were dyslexic?
When my children were dyslexic and my wife decided to have them tested, and when they were tested, they said this is hereditary, और तुम में से एक में से होगा, तो she was a topper, I was a duffer. तो मैंने कहा यही है कलंक.
So at least they got that LD certificate.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but when did you first make your you made your first ad film or whatever? Today you are an ad guru. You are a mentor to so many people. So many people you have mentored. You made them into production houses and all that. But who was your mentor?
My mentor was always Shyam Benegal. So I was in an advertising company in Delhi, और मुझे मेरी सोच में था कि I should come to Bombay because that is where the action is. So one day Shyam Benegal came to Delhi and I told him, "Sir, I want to come and work with you." He said, "तू दिल्ली वाला है, तेरे से नहीं होने वाला, तुम सब जुगाड़ू हो." तो मैंने कहा यार, anyway, I got my boss Jog Chatterjee to send me to Bombay, and Shyam attached me to some other production house. He didn't want to work with me, and then I made a film on my own, and I showed it to him. After that, everything changed.
Okay. So Shyam Babu, I remember once you were telling me, Prahlad, when Shyam Babu was shooting Manthan, you were completely out of frame and तुम्हारा काम था कि वो गाय भैंसों को भगाओ in the frame.
Correct. Not only that, there were many other things. I was slave number 3. in Shyam Benegal's unit, there were no assistants. They were all slaves. So I was slave number 3. Girish Ghanikar was slave number 1. Mandeep Kakar was slave number 2, and I was slave number 3. So, other than hakaroing bhanses and guys, because it's a rural film, it was shot on a farm. We had also ढकेलो one car which conked. जो एंट्री थी हीरो की, वो एक एंटी कार में थी. तो हमने छान पूछ के देखा वो एंटी कार फार्म तक तो पहुंच गई वो कार. At the gate of the farm it conked. जो भी कुछ करो, हैंडल वैंडल लगाया, सब कुछ किया. उसका उन जमानों में तो स्टार्टर तो था नहीं, वो हैंडल लगाना पड़ता था वो जो एंटी कार. हम हैंडल लगा रहे हैं, सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, धक्का वक्का दे रहे, कुछ नहीं हुआ. तो we had to go on the other side of the camera and push the car into the frame all the way into the shot as if it was he was driving it. So if you look closely at Anand Nag's entry in Ankur, you'll see 3 small dwarf feet at the bottom of the car on the other side, running frantically. Multiple takes.
So it was like full dum laga ke haisa.
Dum laga ke haisa, totally.
But then once, when did you set up Genesis?
See, I was working with Shyam, and then after Bhumika, I assisted him on Ankur, I assisted him on Manthan, and during Bhumika, three of us who were assistants with Sham, that is Ravi Upar, Deep Kakar and
Hmm.
Prahlad Kakar, we decided that एक शुरू करते हैं अपनी company. So Sweta was a very good friend, so she named the company Genesis.
Okay.
So we said ठीक है Genesis ही हो जाए. तो हमारे पास पैसा वैसा तो था नहीं to get a logo design. So we went to a printer and said तुम अपने typefaces दिखाओ. So the ugliest typeface that we could find, we make that into the Genesis logo. मैंने कहा बाद में जब पैसा वैसा आएगा तो शायद चेंज करेंगे. अभी तक चेंज नहीं हुआ.
No, but Genesis was, I think, a legend, and you as a legend, people were damn scared of you. When I entered the voicing industry, at the first time that we interacted, you were full too into that MCDC mode. I think you are agree with that.
No,
Huh?
see,
But
Punjabi
that
गाली
you
is
said no, first slave, second slave, third slave.
always remember one thing, Chetan. अगर गाली देनी है तो पंजाबी में. उसके अलावा कोई से other language doesn't have that power of Punjabi.
Correct.
Yeah,
But
so
people always felt that Prahlad Kakar is very, very intimidating. उसके सामने
no,
तुम्हारी फट जाएगी.
I was very particular on my sets. Off the set, I was one of the gang. But on the set, everybody had to be on their toes because we couldn't afford to be lax. And I realized very early in my career that the difference between good and great is detailing.
Correct.
और डिटेलिंग इनविजिबल होता है ना. यू कैन टर्न अराउंड एंड टीच पीपल डिटेलिंग. ये तुमने ये अच्छा नहीं किया, ये ऐसे नहीं किया. 19-20 में बहुत फर्क पड़ जाता है.
Exactly.
It has to be a part of your DNA that 19 नहीं होगा, 20 ही होगा. But the effort of getting from 19 to 20 is 3 times the effort to get from 0 to 19.
Correct.
So if it takes you 10 degrees of effort to get to 0 to 19, then it takes you 30 points of effort to get from 19 to 20. Now, that is what makes the difference between a good production house and a great production house.
Correct.
And for
exactly,
that,
because your team, the team that you worked with, I mean, so many people who were there in your team, then they also came out and started their own production house,
Correct.
But for every team of yours, they were so dedicated to the job, and I have heard you screaming and shouting at them, taking their pants off because something went wrong. That one detail went wrong.
Correct.
But I know I have observed them also later on in their life. They have become such good directors or whatever. It's all because of that
because they understood that 19 और 20 में बहुत फर्क है.
Correct.
And that if you don't aim for these 20, then there's no point because you are wasting everybody's time. So the attention to detail was very important, and if you notice that my unit was mainly girls.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the reason for that is because women are naturally detailed. They are brought up not in the lap of luxury. वो लाडले बेटे नहीं है, वो not लाडली बेटी है. तो उनको शुरू से they have to be very, very good at what they do for them to even get a compliment. अगर तुम लड़के हो इस country में, then the sun shines out of your ass. You can do no wrong because you're a boy. When a boy is born in a family, laddu, pethas, everything is distributed, everybody is so happy. When a girl is born, everybody says, oh, abhi dowry collect karni padegi. So the girls, they grow up with a disadvantage. And because they grow up with a disadvantage, they learn 2 things in their growth pattern, which is one is multitasking and one is attention to detail. So I found the girls were very, very good in terms of, and they hated being shouted at. The boys at least had a गेंडे की खाल, तो उनको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता था. But if I shouted at one of my girls, then I used to, because I had a megaphone in my hand and it didn't matter who you were. The set was a very democratic place. But they hated being tokoed and shouted at in public. And they made sure that they never repeated that mistake again.
Yeah, but it was a great team. But which was your first TV commercial then?
My first, not TV, it was for cinema. It was
Okay.
for,
Yeah. Those days were the days
it
of
was for
cinema.
Anderson. I did a whole series of films for Anderson. Sham had gone off to shoot Hindustan Steel, and we had a client called Jeffrey Manor, who used to make 9 Anderson films every year in the region of his language, and casting from there also. So we used to do a Bharat Darshan by train. पूरी यूनिट डब्बे में घुस जाती थी, and we used to travel from Bombay to coastal Maharashtra to Kerala to Chennai and then come up the other way, and even go to Punjab to Delhi and do the film there. So that was a great learning experience for me, because it wasn't just one film; there were 9 films.
So it was like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam for you.
Totally. So when I did my first set of 9 films, I wanted to push the boundaries of the films, because there was a formula which had been set and accepted because it worked for them. But I said, let's push the occupations of the people who get headaches. For what reasons? And you don't only get headache because of noise. You get headache because of tension. You get headache because of heat. You get headache because of the environment. So for all kinds of headache, there's Anderson. So we cast varied professions, and we used to not cast actors. We used to cast the real people. So unse performance nikalna became a big challenge, and that is why I cut my teeth on performances. So I was always very strong on performances after that exercise.
No, but exactly. But do you remember what was the sign-off line of that commercial? Anderson?
I don't remember, but it wasn't like Saridon. Saridon was the classic at its time.
Sardar Seyaram, that was that.
So Anderson had a similar line, but it was a song. It was spoken.
Spoken. So that means I mean that was a time when the voiceover was like a sign-off for a particular commercial.
Correct. Always.
And that was the time when we had legends like Melville DeMello or Pratap Sharma or
correct.
All of them.
Even Jason Bricuna, even Kabir Bedi, even Mr.
Bachchan. Yeah.
Mr. Bachchan भी also देते थे ना.
Yeah. But then at that point of time, how was he like? For models used to have photographs and used to take auditions and all that and to decide who the model is. But how would you decide? Okay, this is the guy who will do the voiceover.
See, advertising is stuck with one cliche at my time. If it was that the voice of the product is the voice of God.
Correct.
So whoever sounded as close to God as possible was then taken. So they all had to have a deep voice, they had to have timbre, they had to have character. Basically, patli si आवाज से नहीं होने वाला. God is not patli आवाज. God was thunder. So whoever had a thunderous voice became a voiceover artist. And then slowly it changed. Over a period of time, like characters in movies changed, also voices, characters changed.
Yeah, I think when the model...
even for female products.
Correct.
Even for female products, there was always a male voiceover, not a female voiceover.
Correct. Even for Liril and all in those days,
No, totally. No, because the voice of God is male, and God is male.
हाँ. नहीं, but ये जो change आ गया,
Hmm.
When the character in the commercial got a voice, then everything changed.
Correct.
So
Because
that time, even that time, see, like there was no, there was model casting and all that, but there was nothing like I know, there was nothing called as voice casting.
no,
Who
it
will do?
became, but later on it became.
It
And the
became.
flexibility of the voice was the main character. तो voice of God भी कर सकते थे, common man भी कर सकते थे, मजाक भी कर सकते थे. Now,
Hmm.
who were the first of them? You. You're the only one who had 50 voices.
Yeah.
So at that time, you weren't very smart. So you would charge for one voiceover and do 5 voices. So you
Yes.
became very affordable. So you became very popular. Then you started charging for every voice. Then people said, यार ये तो मुश्किल है किसी और को ढूंढे. पर और था ही नहीं कोई.
No, but I think that CAG awards in I think 1989 90, that CAG
हाँ.
awards was something which opened the whole Pandora's box.
Yes.
Yeah, when
CAG award
I had done what, some 18 characters, 18 creative directors of the agencies, all their voices I had done.
correct.
And then everybody said that somebody has come who can do anybody's voice.
Correct. But that was you.
Yeah, no.
So eventually when you got your reputation for doing anybody's voice, then finally if you couldn't get a star to dub for you because he was too busy or he didn't think it was important, or you couldn't get a cricketer to dub for himself because he was playing somewhere out of the country, then we had to get you to do it. Yeah? Who else would do it? So you did
Yeah,
from
exactly.
Sachin. तो तूने डबिंग कितने लोगों के लिए की है? सचिन से लेके अमिताभ बच्चन तक.
Correct. No, but you
Then
gave
look
me
at the
the
range.
chance to. You have always given me challenges.
Yes.
Remember one day you called me and you told me, Chets, you have to do TN session.
Yes. I remember that.
Remember? And I saw the rushes, and I think we were dubbing at Western Outdoor.
Yes.
And TN session was in his full South Indian accent.
He was in full South Indian style, but he was also the head of the election commission, and he
Yeah,
had
yeah,
been given a
exactly.
mandate where he couldn't be sacked.
Yeah.
Nobody could remove him. वो तो सबको कच्चा खा जाता था.
So that ad was very interesting, na? Do you know I was a vegetarian? People say vegetarians are weak, indecisive, and slow. I am a vegetarian. I eat politicians for breakfast. So what? I still prefer vegetarian.
Correct.
Shakagari. That whole thing was Shakagari Raho. बहुत अच्छा है. हाँ?
It was so what do you call Amul vegetables, you know.
Safal. It was Safal.
Safal, but Safal was an Amul brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Safal का वो peas. That is what they were
No,
marketing.
vegetables. Basically, they sell
vegetables.
fresh vegetables.
Gajar, buli, सब था. And he ate everything.
So, correct. And Menaka Gandhi was also a part of it. She was also one of the this thing. And Shakahari Bano अच्छा है. She dropped the campaign अच्छा है for her own campaign. Menaka Gandhi को vote करो अच्छा है.
No, but and after that period, the once celebrities, Alec always used to say the day you get a celebrity in your commercial, your creative is gone for a toss.
Yes,
that was Alec.
But that wasn't true for us. We always believed that the brand was bigger than the celebrity. The belief that the brand is the hero and not the celebrity.
No, but
that is what drove all our scripts. Whether it was for Pepsi, whether it was for TN Session or anybody. The fact was that Safal, vegetarianism was the hero.
Correct.
Not what you call Session. After that Session commercial, the question was raised in Parliament.
Correct.
क्योंकि ये क्या बोल रहा है रे पॉलिटिशियन को कच्चा खा जाता है.
Yeah, we know because see, ad films apart, we used to do a lot of work on radio,
Yeah.
When on radio we used to do, Bihari used to be Lalu Yadav straight. And
Correct.
then Lalu Yadav also raised an issue in the parliament saying that सब लोग हमारा जो पॉलिटिशियन है
न,
उनका मजाक उड़ाता है,
नकल करते
हाँ
हैं.
नकल करता है, तो इसके लिए you should ban. Oh, they came out with a dictate. You can't do politicians in ad commercials. You can't do anything.
Correct.
And that is where this whole IP sting started actually.
Yes.
But again, coming back to thing, Prahlad, because which is the most memorable commercial that you have done? Which you still remember, the boss.
For you, it was you paying the Sardar with Sachin.
Yes, I remember,
Tell
and I
me.
remember that was we shot it at Rajkamal, no?
Correct. Running
And
around a Pepsi truck.
yeah. And we went and you introduced me to Sachin, and you told him,
Yeah.
look, he's going to play the Sardar. Uh, and Sachin said, but he doesn't look like a Sardar. अभी मेकअप हो जाएगा तो मेकअप के बाद दिखेंगे. And you told him that he's also going to do your voice. Because उसके पहले I had done that Azhar, Sachin and Vinod का film, ना?
Correct. Vinod Kamli and Sachin Ka. Correct. You have done both of them.
Relax, Mas. Have a Pepsi. I did all the three of them.
Yes.
Relax, Mas. Have a Pepsi. No, so when you told him that I'll do his voice, he said, but how can you do my voice? And I had replied to him in his voice that time, just like you're talking right now. And he said, Allah.
Correct.
And that Allah, you made it into a mnemonic for every commercial of Sachin.
Sachin's correct.
Yeah. So कुछ भी है तो Allah. So, but then, how do you? Anything was there, but what do you look for as a voice? As a voice, a lot of people who are listening to us.
I look for a voice to represent the brand. And therefore, if the brand has been built with character, if the brand is not an inanimate object, but it is a participating player in the commercial, then the brand has a character. So the voiceover has to represent that character of the brand. You understand?
Yeah, so, but I always feel that the voice has to complement the music also. What is happening? Music is very important.
No doubt. But most important is that the last voiceover is the voice of the product. And if you have built a value into the brand, and if you have given it a character, and it is young, irreverent, naughty, whatever it is, then the voiceover has to represent that. And if you catch that flavor, and very few people can, because they're not perceptive enough to understand that, brands may be jaan hoti hai. And that as a jaan, you have to identify them with the kind of people that you think they are.
That means that a voiceover, that means that a voiceover needs to have that intuitive power. Intuition होना चाहिए उसको कि वो.
Absolutely. So that's why you show the film to the voiceover artist. You don't just send him blind into a studio and tell him बोल to 2-3 alternatives दे मुझे. वो नहीं होता. I show the film to the voiceover and say, देखो, you are the voice of the brand. Now you give me a voice that you think is the person that lives in the brand.
Correct. Yeah, but आजकल, if you see that we have seen the golden period of advertising today.
Right.
सामने वाला जो हमसे डिस्कस कर रहा है उसको मालूम ही नहीं है कि क्या करने का.
नहीं. Most of the time they're lost.
We don't have those kind of people today.
See, we used to have a word which they still use, but they use it without knowing what it means.
Correct.
It's brand value.
Correct.
Brand value is not something that is the कीमत of the brand. Brand value is the legend you build around the brand and its communication. So communication mein, you have to pick a person who you think the brand actually represents, and use the value. For instance, if your brand name is say Abhimanyu, so it's Veer Abhimanyu. No? Abhimanyu is Arjun's son. He's 19 years old, and he goes into battle on his father's side, and he's huge. I mean, he's a Mahan warrior. So, if you had to have a dialogue between Arjun and Abhimanyu, what voice would you give Abhimanyu? What voice would you give Arjun? Tell me.
Correct. One is a matured father. He knows this
Yes.
war.
Correct.
And the other is somebody who's full of blood rush. Okay,
Yes. And he's doing his duty.
Yeah. And he has heard how to वो चक्रव्यूह भेदना कैसा उसने सुना है, लेकिन उससे बाहर कैसे निकलने उसने नहीं सुना.
नहीं सुना.
But still then उसने अपने प्राणों की आहुति दे दी.
हाँ.
नहीं, but ये जो what do you think that voice actors, voice artists should do to improve or to develop this whole intuitive thing, or is it inborn?
No, it is not inborn. It is something that you actually study and you observe and you make a point of it in your own methodology. That इसकी voice in your own mind, you उसकी गूंज जाती है आवाज की, ये बंदा इसकी आवाज की ऐसी गूंज होगी, and only then can you actually replicate it, unless the director is so clear about in his mind what kind of voice he has that he actually demonstrates it to the voiceover artist. I want this kind of voice.
No, because see, my theory is very simple. Every face has a voice and every voice has a face.
Correct.
So when your voice becomes perfect, you can actually see the face.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So the value of the brand is in the face of the brand.
Correct.
Okay, which personality have you developed the brand on? For
Correct.
Honesty, for truth, for generosity, for courage, for fighting spirit, whatever.
So I remember we had gone to Tirunelveli. We were shooting for Teak Equity.
Correct.
And you were not happy with the script, and you told me, boss, Chets, you write the script now on the spot.
Yeah, because the script was, there was a lady who was walking among the teak trees and considering them as her children.
The whole thing was, मैं माँ हूँ.
हाँ, मैं माँ हूँ, पेड़ों की माँ हूँ, और हर पेड़ अलग है, और हर पेड़ की पर्सनालिटी अलग है, जो मैं सबको पहचानती हूँ, and so we had to give her a character. So there's a strong woman. She's buried 3 husbands. Remember that line?
Yeah.
मैंने 3 पतियों को गाड़ा है.
Rajita Kochar was the model that time. She passed away recently. Yeah, she recently passed away. Then there was very good actor. And there was a South Indian, and then I was the Sardar, as usual.
Yeah.
But it was a thing. But you have come up with some things like, suddenly you said, I don't like the script, and you write the script now.
Yeah.
That was a gun.
See, क्या होता है कि when clients write scripts, they write them with an agenda. And that agenda is that all my product properties must come out in the script. So it becomes very verbose and very boring. Now, if you start arguing with the client at a PPM, then he will get ideal. He'll turn around and say, मैं पैसा दे रहा हूँ, जो मैं कह रहा हूँ वो कर. So I found a methodology in the madness. I said, yeah, I don't agree with what he's saying, but I'm not going to argue with him. I'm going to agree with him. And then I'm going to do my own thing also. So in the beginning of my career, I actually shot films twice. The same film.
Okay.
With my script and with their script. And then I showed them their script at the screening. And they'd all get into a huddle and say, yeah, इसमें दम नहीं है. That I felt like telling them, I told you, yeah, I'm the filmmaker, yeah. Listen to me. You're paying me money to be a professional. At least listen to my professional advice. But they're not willing to do that. They so ideal, they research it 500 times. Research में क्या निकलने वाला है? Creativity थोड़ी निकलने वाली.
Yeah, but some of the best films have got bombed in the research.
Correct.
Like when we did Closer. Huh?
Yeah. So what happens then is that you use your intuition and you use your experience, and you use your entire what you call whole retinue of experience and say what will people latch onto. इसमें hook क्या है?
The hook line.
The hook line, because people only remember that दिल मांगे मोह.
Correct.
बाकी commercial याद आया नहीं आया, it doesn't matter as long as it supports the line दिल मांगे मोह. Correct. So
even Britannia 50-50. What? Sad magic, you know.
Correct. So the fact is that your hook line is the most important line on your film. And if the rest of the film does not support the hook line, then you'll forget the hook line also.
Correct.
So there's no science to it. It is frankly random. And therefore, what the client's argument is that अगर तू random कर रहा है तो मैं क्यों नहीं random कर सकता? The difference between the client and the filmmaker is the filmmaker is making a film for a consumer, and therefore himself. The client is making the film for only his product. So his focus is only on the product. Now, how much of your product can you talk about? 30 seconds में वो बोलता है यार तुम मेरा product सिर्फ 5 seconds में लाओ. 25 seconds you've been telling some story. So at least 20 seconds तो मेरे product के बारे में होना चाहिए ना. So when you tell him that memorability is because of punchline, yeah, you lead up to the punchline. So storytelling is a craft, is an art. Most clients don't know what storytelling is. They don't know how to tell a story. So if
the problem is in that ad span of some whatever that 2 minutes there are so many commercials which come one after the other.
Correct. And which one do you remember?
Yeah, exactly. But
today those commercials that touch you emotionally, not logically. See, their strength is logic. Filmmakers and creative people's strength is emotion. अभी अमित शर्मा को देखो.
Is the whole
Take Amit Sharma of Chrome Films. Okay. He's the only filmmaker today who I know who stood his ground. He has not compromised his vision at all. He'll walk away from the project. And that's why he makes classic films like the Google film. With a friend in Pakistan and the old man whose 70th birthday it is, and the granddaughter goes on Google, finds the friend, invites him to India, gets his visa, gets the flight details, picks him up and brings him for his 70th birthday. It is such a moving film. If Google had told him that boss, Google तो इसमें invisible है, बीच में वो टाइप कर रही है Google पे to find the हलवाई की दुकान, to find the address, to find Lahore, to find all the details. But it's so cleverly done that Google is always there, but not there. It's a part of the story. It's not different from the story. Now, I can imagine Amit sitting down there and fighting with the client and saying, नहीं boss, ऐसे ही होगा. या तो मैं ऐसे ही करूँगा या ना ही करूँगा. We couldn't afford to do that at that time. Later on, yes, but when we were building our reputation, we had to make the film twice. Had to do it their way and my way. And when we showed them the film their way, they said, यार इसमें दम नहीं है, कुछ गड़बड़ है, ये है, वो है. And nobody took the onus of the responsibility that उनकी script थी. So I should tell them, boss, if you don't like the film, you tell me what I've not done in the script. I've done it exactly as per your board. Now, the rest is not my fault. You insisted on it. I said, however, मेरे पास एक फिल्म है, मैं शोरील पे डालने वाला हूँ. वो आपके लिए नहीं है, मेरे लिए बनाई मैंने. वो देखना चाहता है, आप देख लीजिए. Now, the basic premise of the script is the same, but the whole presentation was in a story form.
Correct.
So it engaged you, na? From
Correct.
first 5 seconds,
Not
it engaged
yeah.
you. अब क्या होगा? Okay. Then they look at it and say, हाँ बहुत अच्छी है. Then they turn around and say, अच्छा हमारी फिल्म से ये हिस्सा निकालो और अपनी फिल्म से ये हिस्सा निकालो और तीसरी फिल्म बनाओ. So I said, no, sorry. You either take your film or you take my film. You can't dick around with my film. My film is as it is. It will go on my story. You can run your film on TV if you want. So then they had to. They didn't like it. The agency didn't like it because they said, यार हमारा क्या होगा कालिया? इसमें तो हमारा कोई छाप ही नहीं है. So they would want to change something in my script to take some authorship.
Yeah.
So we still have a tough time. I got a very bad reputation with the agency. They turn and say, नहीं यार ये script change कर देगा, shoot it. But what they didn't say was that I also shot their board.
Correct. And the final result used to be so good.
No, and if I didn't like the film, I would tell the client, I don't like the film, I'm going to reshoot it at my cost. I never asked them for extra money. I took the full onus of the responsibility of making the commercial work. मैंने कहा जब तक ये सफल नहीं होगी in its objective, I will keep shooting it at my cost.
Yeah, but you've launched so many brands, like Pepsi was a big thing, plus getting Sachin, everybody in that. I think I still remember that Sachin and Mr. Bachchan's commercial.
Correct. The kite one in Jodhpur.
The kite one. दिल की पतंग है, सपनों की डोर है, आसमां भी कम है, ये दिल मांगे मोर है.
Correct.
That was a superb thing, and it was very catchy one. And again, your Oye Bubbly. Oye Bubbly, be my lover.
That
Bubbly,
wasn't mine, huh? That wasn't mine at all. By that time, we had the whole team in Pepsi had changed, and so had we.
Oh.
And they didn't want me to work with them, and I didn't want to work with them because they wanted storyboards and they wanted to go back into the lever style of working. And I wasn't used to that with Pepsi. Because we had a very good creative equation with Vibha. Anuja Chauhan, me, and Vibha had a damn good equation. So हम set पे जाते थे with the script, and we used to rehearse it, and I used to ring up Vibha and say, this is not working. So she said, what do you want to do? Cancel the shoot. I said, no, we'll change the script. She said, are you sure? I said, yes. And we changed the script.
Yeah. I mean, I know, I've seen it. When we're doing Maska Chaska and all that, we changed the script.
No, but with Sunil Lalak, it was like he was a part of the team.
Yeah.
He was a creative part of the team. As a matter of fact, all the ideas were his.
Correct.
Right from
So
the
we
beginning.
had that kind of freedom.
Gabbar Ki Asli Pasand, when he suggested that film for Britannia, Glucose. You remember that old Gabbar Ki Asli Pasand? They got the whole cast of what you call Sholay, and they shot the film exactly, and they changed the dialogue slightly.
Correct. No, but that the whole Gabbar Ki Asli Pasand and all that. See, what happened is I thought one of the big things that you put Britannia into was to get that ting ting ting.
That was also a fight because the team Britannia, not Sunil, Britannia की team जो थी ना, their jingle, which was musical, was sacrosanct.
Correct.
That was a holy cow. So you couldn't deviate. So when you gave they used to give it to us. as a part of the recording, and we had to go to the music director and say, "देखो, it should match this meter and this octave, because it can't be that your jingle is in another platform and ये suddenly ये इसको add on कर दिया." So then we realized that during one campaign, which was World Cup जाओ ब्रिटानिया खाओ World Cup जाओ,
हाँ
I said, let's give the ownership to the consumer. Now, why should the ownership of the signature belong to the manufacturer? जब तुम बिस्कुट कंज्यूमर को दे रहे हो तो उसका सिग्नेचर भी कंज्यूमर का ही होना चाहिए ना. So we made everybody say ting 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 in their own way. We played them the jingle and say आप तू इसको नकल कर. And some people said ting 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 ting. Some people said ting 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 ding ding. Some people said something else. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter that they didn't represent it exactly, but it mattered that they were ownership.
Correct.
Suddenly the mantle of ownership passed from the manufacturer to the consumer.
Correct.
And Sunil immediately realized that. And he said, yes, do it. They were horrified. यार हमारे जिंगल के साथ तुम डिकिंग अराउंड कर रहे हो, कैसे कर सकते हो?
Yeah, it was the whole thing, na, that World Cup cricket मिला फ्री क्रिकेट रुकना वो बोलता है कि at these ends
ब्रिटानिया खाओ वर्ल्ड कप जाओ.
World Cup. Ding 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 ding. Everybody said. Then the same thing came.
Ting, ting.
And 50-50 में भी आया ना वो. Oh, Britannia 50-50. Very tasty.
And then we got my son Anjun to say ting ting ting.
Yeah. In the end, running.
Yes.
But that really created some things of like आज भी हम लोग वो याद करते हैं. People still remember that. Britannia मुझे ting ting ting.
Correct. वो तो घुस गया ना दिल में, क्योंकि it's not only mind, it's also your dil. The brand belongs to you. So there is a certain loyalty. When you say ting ting ting, you say it with great pride.
Now, I always feel that we are very vocal people. हर एक आदमी अपना अपना चीज बेच रहा है, अलग अलग थिंग है. The thing is, as a voice over, हम लोग ये सोचते हैं कि भाई मैं कितना अलग बेच सकता हूँ, so that my voice catches that attention. And if my voice catches that attention, then obviously that commercial will stand out.
बिल्कुल सही. Absolutely.
So what is your definition of a voiceover? I mean, what is a voiceover?
My definition of voiceover is, as I said, it should represent the character of the brand and the value of the brand. And therefore, I used to, before we met you and realized that you could do all the voices, I would have to actually find voices to represent the brand. That because everybody else is so stereotyped, they would only do one kind of comedy. They couldn't deviate from that. So I had to find new voices. I also introduced a lot of new voices.
Exactly, because when I was struggling trying to get work, I had met Mr. Vanmali, and he said, No, you cannot become a voiceover. I said, why? Because I was really emoting and putting more character into the voice.
Correct.
You have to do a voice like a films division, how that reader reads at the same time.
Flat voiceover.
Flat. तो वो एक था, but then बाद में of course everything changed.
थोड़ा करके हमने बदला ना.
We have. I also remember, that when we were, and you have made me shoot some of the most dangerous commercials. That Yamraj thing you said, Yamraj, yes. Made me sit on that live buffalo, and then finally that buffalo buckled, and he threw me up in the air about some 10-12 feet. And I fell down on those cobblestones, and I had your lovely ladies massage my back during the shoot.
They were most upset. They said, "यार Chetan bloody advantage ले रहा है साला. उसको चौनी की चोट लगी और 5 रुपए का दिखा रहा है." तो अच्छा, give him his due, यार. उसको कभी lovely ladies मसाज नहीं करती उसकी पीठ पे. He has to go all the way to Bangkok. He has to go all the way to Bangkok for that. तो थोड़ा तो उनको उसका लिहाज कर रहे हैं, गिरा है.
But really, Prahlad, we've had some amazing times. Whatever, like I still remember the 50-50 Muska Chaska when we changed the script and your heart line strong, your headline wrong.
Correct.
Heart line strong, headline wrong. Your Saturn in first house, wife in neighbor's house.
Correct.
What it is. I think.
But who took the voiceover business to another end? Once radio went private,
Huh.
then radio jingles became so creative. Radio voiceovers became so creative. Each one, you could close your eyes and you could see the person.
Correct.
In the character of the voice.
But unfortunately, today there are very few people who actually write for radio. Because today, under
Correct.
that barter thing, that they directly the client ties up with the FM channel. They only write the script. Their RJs, they do the voices.
So,
I know.
multiply कर दिया ना. See, today clients have lost the edge, which says a person like Sunil Alagh. Sunil Alagh was very clear. He said, I can't afford to be mediocre. मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है. That if I was a big company like Levers or some multinational company, I could afford to be mediocre because I could have frequency. So if you are कम से कम सा कमर्शियल, चल से कमर्शियल, उसको तुम जितनी दफे बैंक करोगे उतना थोड़ा सा इम्पैक्ट रहेगा ना. पर अगर पैसा ही है बैंक करने के लिए, तो then you have to have an outstanding commercial where it catches everybody's attention, goes viral. So before digital media, there was a virality to commercials, and that was when they were out of the box. They were hatke.
Correct.
And that is what he was looking for all the time, because he said, "Dekho bhaiya, my each brand has a budget of 1.5 crores. That is nothing. If I don't have a great communication package, nobody will notice me here." So he used to take a lot of risks in terms of what to do. I remember when he suggested that we use my 3-year-old son. I refused. I said, ये किसी की सुनने वाला नहीं है. इसको स्क्रिप्ट में कैसे यू राइट अ स्क्रिप्ट, ये कर रहा है, वो कर रहा है, वो नहीं करने वाला. वो जो कुछ मर्जी है वो ही करेगा, और नहीं मर्जी है तो वो भी नहीं करेगा. व्हाट आर वी गोइंग टू डू? तो इसे ये ले, 3 दिन का पैसा ले तेरे शूट का. टेक अ कैमरा विद अ लॉन्ग लेंस एंड अ क्रू एंड जस्ट फॉलो हिम थ्रू द डे. जो कुछ करेगा शूट कर. सो रहा है शूट कर, कूद रहा है शूट कर, टेंट्रम फेंक रहा है शूट कर, और फिर बाद में देखेंगे हाउ टू मेक सेंस ऑफ इट. So luckily, my very good assistant Kenny Dawson had a working relationship with my son because they were friends. Kenny was 30 years old and Arjun was 3 years old, but they were on the same wavelength. Well, he never would listen to me because I was his father. So I removed myself from the picture. तो मैंने केनी को सामने रख दिया, जो कुछ करवाना करवा. So the scripts are very loosely done with cricket, tennis, and football. And there was no such thing as any rules. He could do what he wanted.
Yeah.
He was bowling, he was batting also.
And what's that jingle was there? No, move over, make way.
That was later. Yeah. But this was like, this was Swasth Khao, Tan Man Jagao.
Swasth Khao, Tan Man Jagao. Yeah.
Correct. So he did an entire corporate campaign. He didn't do it on a brand. He did it on Britannia. That Britannia is healthy, and children like Anjan, who are badmashis basically, and you love them for it because they're badmashis. The biscuit makes them badmash, full of juice and energy. So it worked like a bomb.
Yeah.
Every woman who saw that commercial said, "I want a boy like him."
Right.
That is when I lost my greatest opportunity. I could have sold myself through one. मैंने इसको बनाया है. आ जाओ, send me your photograph. If you're good looking enough, I will give you a boy. And if it's a girl, your money back and I'll take the girl. Because I had 3 sons. I wanted a girl. तो मैंने कहा यार फायदा ही फायदा है, पैसा भी मिल जाएगा, दूसरे भी खुश हो जाएंगे, लड़के मिल जाएंगे उनको, और अगर लड़की निकल गई इत्तेफाक से तो वो मेरी हो जाएगी.
So Prahlad, I think we have to wind up now. But on that last note, what would be your advice to the young budding voiceovers? What you would like to tell them?
My advice to them is to observe, to watch as many films as possible, and you see the voices of the characters, and imagine the character for the brand, and then give that voice in conjunction with the director. You see, the director also has to have an opinion. अगर director आपसे मिला नहीं हो, तो then you can do what you want. You will not listen, because the onus of the responsibility of doing that execution is the director, and he is answerable. So he must be able to justify the voice, especially if it's not the voice of God, because the voice of God era is over now. Now it's the voice of character.
Correct. And real life.
Yes.
A person
you
that you think should be.
You should be able to identify with them. So if you do a voiceover, which is Humphrey Bogart's voice, played against Sam, then people who've seen Humphrey Bogart in his earlier days and seen Casablanca will immediately say, yeah, ये तो Humphrey Bogart है. And it adds value.
Correct. But today the problem,
it adds the depth.
But today the problem, Prahlad, is the IP has come into picture. Like if you have to do any personality voice, you need his permission.
You can't do. All those guys are dead and gone, yeah.
Guys were dead and gone. That's okay. But जो live है, जो जिंदा है.
No, but तू हिंदी में नकल कर सकता है अंग्रेजी एक्टर का. तो क्या उसको हिंदी का मालूम? But the voice quality is the same.
अपने यहाँ भी है. So great, Prahlad, great.
Mogambo खुश हुआ was a very big line at its time.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to use it.
Mogambo खुश हुआ.
Correct.
The whole that laughter. अरे भाई ये भी कोई कहने की बात है. That whole.
Amrish Puri was unique.
Yeah.
He was also a voiceover artist. He also did voiceovers for them.
Yeah. So I think we had a great time, Prahlad, and I think all the voices who have been listening to us have got a chance to get something from you. Have given a lot to them, a lot of food for thought.
What I want today's filmmakers to do is have a style of filmmaking which is recognizable. So, because in ad film, nobody has a name. But at our time, people could recognize, ये प्रहलाद की फिल्म है, ये White Light की फिल्म है, ये Johnny Pinto की फिल्म है. There was a certain consistent style of making films which were recognizable. Today, I can't recognize anything. It's a big jumble. They're all so mediocre that I don't want to recognize them. So if you want to be the privilege of making films, you must put your signature on your film. And your signature has to be consistent. Otherwise, the bank will bounce the check.
Correct.
So if they make films in a particular style and are consistent about it and are strong about it, then people will come to them for that. You're not a jack of all trades. You either excel in emotion like Amit Sharma, or you excel in humor, or you excel in action, or you excel in something. So you have to be a specialist today.
Yeah, because we had our Indian Academy of Advertising and Film Art, IFA, where, but that was there. It was only there for about
Correct.
10 years, and then it stopped. Where even voiceovers were given.
Correct.
They had the technical
Every
awards.
all it was a technician's award. It was
Yeah,
meant for technicians, not for
yeah,
products.
correct. But unfortunately, now India's Voice Fest is recognizing the voice talents, and they have been giving awards to
अभी यार
several voice
मैंने देखा
actors.
है ठोका ठाके चल रहा है. अभी क्या है ठोका ठाके चल रहा है. The cheapest voiceover is the most popular. तेरे और मेरे जैसे लोग अभी obsolete हो गए. We become dinosaurs.
I don't agree with that, Prahlad. Because if you look at the hundreds of comments that people are putting out, I don't think any of these comments even remotely indicate that any of you are obsolete. People are writing that this possibly has been the most invigorating session that they have probably ever heard, and I really wish more such legends come out and share such amazing nuggets. This is we don't want this to stop. I know time का limitation है थोड़ा सा, but आप ये समझिए प्रहलाद कि जो आज की generation है उनको कहाँ मौका मिलता है to listen to you.
I'll tell you the glue that created creativity within scripts, where you could take liberties with the script, and that glue was called trust.
Beautiful.
There is no trust anymore. Clients don't trust agencies. Agencies don't trust producers. सस्ता और किफायती. थूक लगा के हाइशा.
I wish I could disagree with you, Prahlad, but as someone from one generation down, all I can say is I think all of us are living on one word, which is hope. So much as I do agree with you that the word trust is becoming...
You have to build trust. My clients have stayed with them for 20 years. They came back to me for 20 years. Now, why would they do that when I was such a difficult person to work with? I was Adial, I insisted on my way, and I would take responsibility for it, but still they didn't like it.
Yeah, because you delivered masterpieces. I guess trust is built on consistency of
Eventually,
result.
that is what it is. That is what it is.
Yeah.